Hello everyone, welcome to another wonderful video with myself and Brad Chester. We are here to talk to you about some top level questions from our top level games. Brad, how are you doing, sir?
I am going to literally murder face some
Oh
AT&T
no,
employees.
oh no.
But the top question today would be, is anybody a criminal attorney? Because I'm going to need some representation
Oh,
after.
Brad. Well, I wouldn't consider this legal advice, but my advice would be not to murder. I learned that one in history class.
The
Remember,
Chad is right.
Batman gets away with maiming, you can too.
So basically, our overlay is because of the fact that my internet is out even after I've had two technicians out in two back-to-back days. And I'm not even mad about it. As you can see, I'm very chill about this. I'm not at all going to start stabby people. So, all of the things, some of the stuff, my friends. All of the things, some of the stuff.
All right,
I
well,
just
uh, I've got some questions for you, Brad. Some questions that I'm hoping that we will be disagreeing on. Because you know what? It's been like 2 weeks since I've had the opportunity to point out how woefully wrong you are. And it's part of my routine at this point. I missed it.
oh man, I'm ready.
All
I'm
right,
just
Brad.
ready. I
Question.
also can barely see the chat. I'm going to go from my blue blockers to actual reading glasses because I'm so old I can't actually read my phone. So there we go.
All right. So here we go. Starting off, do you think that the current metagame is geared more towards the close mid-range style play with a big focus on close combat, or is there still a place in the game for the good old-fashioned 48, 60-inch long-range weapons that we've seen in the past?
Depends on what
Yep.
terrain you're playing at. Because I think that like the Las Vegas or not Las Vegas. Sorry,
The
I
front
have no
line?
idea where I am in the world. Not even frontline.
No.
London GT's type format
Whoa.
actually has longer range shooting angles. And I also think that while the WTC is a very heavy boards,
Hmm.
I think that there's different boards that have long range angles. So I really think it depends what you're going to be playing on.
Hmm.
I think that if you're playing events, I don't think you're going to get very many opportunities to shoot very far downfield. So it depends what you're playing at. And we've said this for a long time, though, that the tournament and the terrain that you're playing at does really change what type of army you're bringing.
Hmm. I actually think that the 48 to 60-inch weapons, I think of things like a Caladius tank, Armature Halverins, etc., as like a good 60-inch range gun. I think that they're actually really potent right now. I think a lot of people have geared towards that short range, mid range style play with good combat. You know, look at an army like Sisters of Battle, and they don't really have anything longer than 36 inches. And in that exact moment, that is when it is best to have a 60-inch gun because there's things you can hide out of line of sight, and then sometimes you run out of range and you're like, I'm just going to be so far out of this planet that no one's shooting me. And then every once in a while, your opponent's like, I will still be shooting you. Like, I'm not even going to grab the tape measure here. It's 60 inches
I
and I'm
mean,
not on my board edge.
and super long range stuff is cool sometimes. It's just the problem is that sometimes sometimes it's not. How about that? Yeah, you're really getting technical on it. I
GW
just think
format
that
is definitely the time where it does not come up as often.
yeah, and it depends on what board you're playing on the front line right now, because certain boards are very heavy, and if you have a very heavy board with large pieces that you can layer,
Hmm.
you're going to get less use out of that.
Yep.
So as a whole, right now, I like to load up my armies with mid mid and short range guns, and that's kind of the way I want to play because we took away the things that let you sit back. You don't have armies that can do to the last. You don't have armies that can strangle and just bail. You know what I mean? So people have to actually engage right now to get points. So I think that mid-range guns are more powerful than they've ever been in the game.
Yeah, mid-range guns are definitely at their strongest right now, especially on a shorter board, the way that missions and are being played. But anytime, you know, like it's like how when Horde gets better, anti-Horde gets better. As mid-range gets better, I still like actually having a 60-inch gun because there are occasions where you can see a Sisters of Battle army because they can't hide the entire thing, and you're just like, oh, well, I'm just going to shoot you with this gun, and oh, by the way, I'm out of retaliation range completely. Have fun on your turn.
Super chat from Lyle.
Yo, Lyle.
Follow-up question. Are hammerheads in the unnecessarily long range or the potent long range category at the moment? Hammerheads have a great profile, and they do have the why is your range so long, but it sets them up to peek out and be able to shoot anywhere on the board. If you make a mistake with your movement, the hammerheads will punish you badly. And also they have the perfect point of tanks with fly, which is why the Caladius, for instance, and the hammerheads, all these tanks are very, very good, is because they can bounce over walls and always find the correct angle. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to have a long range big gun, you want it to have the ability to reach anywhere, anytime. So
yeah,
it's necessary. Potent, I would say potent.
Potent. 100% on that. Unnecessarily long range goes strictly to Imperial Guard. I won't hear anything else. Because 300 inches is printed in that codex still.
Which mic is peaking hard, guys? We appreciate the help, but I don't know which.
Oh yeah, Lloyd, let me know if that is myself or Brad who is sounding a little bit too much. Guy on the right. Oh, that's Brad.
I love that I'm the guy on the right now.
Mm-hmm. Brad, any chance that you could either scoot your chair back or adjust your settings on your end? If not, I'll see if I can mess with it on mine.
I am on a headset right now.
Oh. Well, if you want to take the headset out of your mouth, that would help.
I can't. I can only talk in the headset. I'm an old man, so I have to yell directly into the microphone.
Oh, well, don't do that.
just take my volume down to like 30% less.
All right, let me see if I can mess with that. Okay, while I attempt to solve audio questions, because you know that's my specialty, here's the next question for you. How many CPs...
The Brad on the right is loud.
Yeah. How many command points do you think armies are going to start with right now? And how many do you think that they should start with?
That's army per army. That's a very tough... It's a good question, but it's very... exactly. Sexy dude with the bottle of wine. There you go, baby.
Brad, I'm not here to ask you the easy questions.
It is a hard question.
Yeah.
It depends on how your army works, 100%. I've got armies. I've made lists right now that start with 0 CP, and then there's others that I say have to have 2 CP because I need to be able to do things right away. I need to redeploy if that's the case. For instance, if I'm playing Sisters, I'll use Sisters as a good example. I want a lot more CP in the bank than I want with other armies because I want the ability to interrupt. I want to be able to fight on death. So I need 4 CP at some point in time sitting in the bank. While other armies, I don't care as much. Maybe I don't have the ability to interrupt, and I'm going to be able to sit with 2. With my other army right now, I start with very low, and then I kind of just sit on 2 just to threaten interrupts and intercepts with forewarned. So it depends. It really depends on the army. It depends on what strats you have and how your army works. If you need to threaten more than 1, for instance, the Sisters fight on death plus an interrupt, that's a huge deal. That's a game changer if you're playing Sisters. There's a lot of armies that are like that though, where you have strats that the combination of them will just end your opponent and just destroy their either their movement or their fight phase or whatever. You know what I mean? So it really depends on what army it is. Unfortunately, I'm giving you the politician answer on that, but it's just really what army we're talking about.
Yeah, that really is a politician answer, but I'm going to try to interpret it as best as I can. The Brad on the right is loud. I will actually speak up a little bit. Too soft for Brad? Oh God, did I make Brad too soft?
Dude, right. I said 30% already.
All right. So
super chat again.
Oh,
Woo-hoo!
more super chats. Lyle Dixon, thank you so much for your support. Brad, on a scale of 0 to 6, how important do you think starting the game with command points is right now?
It depends on the army.
Oh my God.
It does. It does depend on the army. Certain armies don't. I actually agree with the orc one. I just don't care about my orc strats unless I'm trying to do 3d6 charges and stuff like that. There's certain armies where I just don't give a crap. If I'm a melee army or if I have melee units, I want 2 CP. Basically, if you're not afraid of turn 1 and you're not getting alpha struck, by the end of turn 1, if you do nothing else, you'll have 2 CP, and I think that's fine for interrupts on that.
Okay, that's fair. So my take on it is that I think you only need 2 CP in basically any army. Because if you're doing your job right, your opponent is not going to have the opportunity to force you into using multiple 2 CP strats. With Sisters, I don't actually think you need an interrupt and a fight on death, because how are you letting them charge 2 different units, combat units that could credibly fight on death / interrupt, and neither of them are covered by your fight last character while you have not gained any command points yet? Like, what on God? You went second on on Recover the Relics against like Twilight Harlequin bikes, and you also deployed on the line? Is this the scenario?
Yeah, I'm just saying that in the game you're going to a turn. If you don't have strats that you have to use during the first turn, you're just going to have those right away. I'm kind of under the my play style says that I would rather have the best army on the board than immediate stratagems.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
There's a couple of armies that can get away with 0 CP, and basically those are armies that don't actually have good 2 CP strats. Everyone else, I think you're trying to confine yourself to a single battalion, a single detachment, cut 1 or 2 warlord traits, and start with at least 2, because there is that very real, scenario where you start at 2 and you're playing Recover the Relics, which I maintain is the worst mission in the game right now. And on Recover the Relics, you don't get CP, and it's just like, wow, I just have to really milk this 2 CP for an entire game. Until I establish a midfield presence, which if you go second, get wrecked.
all of the yes. See, you do lose 2 CP right there if your opponent just takes those objectives from you round 1.
Well, if you go second, you lose 2 CP on both command phases turn 1. Then you get 1 on your opponent's command phase of turn 2. That's your 3rd command point. And if they have a good turn 2 and they go a little bit aggressive because they're like, hey, this guy's literally no stratagems coming at me, let me see if I can go contest his objectives for a turn or 2. It could literally just be game over.
Which is why, if you have 4 deploying units or scouting units, it's very important to take them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I want to start on these objectives, so I don't have exactly what John just said happen to me, because that sucks.
Yeah, that's something that I fully agree with, and I wish every army had access to it. But sometimes you don't, and that's never fun. Okay, so got another question coming right up here for you, Brad. Previously, the rule of thumb was that you needed to score 80 points in a given game to have a good chance at winning. Has that number gone up or down with a secondary change? How many points, if you're trying to play solitaire, how many points do you need to aim for?
I love this again, because I'm going to again diplomat the crap out of this.
All right.
Depends what army you're playing against.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Brad.
No, but it is, though. You have to ask yourself, what can the other army, because for instance, again, we go to Sisters. Sisters are probably the aberration in this, because they are still the only army that can play solo.
Mm-hmm.
Every other army, I think the actual number went down a little bit because we lost 30 auto points.
Yeah,
I'm
not going to blame you, Brad, for forgetting that Necrons exist. That's fine. Honestly, I think GW did too for a while there.
Well, Necrons at least have to move out. Their stratagems or their secondaries are amazing, but they at least have to touch things real quick to score all their points. So I at least get a turn to do something about it before they rack up a 12 on one turn. So it's a big deal on that. So I think that you're going to see the number is still, I think the number is still at least 80, but I think you're going to see a general decline in a lot of armies' total points because of the fact that it's just not as easy to put up the bigger numbers, and games have to be a little bit more interactive because you can't just go to the last and stranglehold and just sit there. So
yeah, I think honestly 80 points is probably the best number to be aiming for. The biggest problem, I should say, and this isn't actually a problem, but the problem with that playstyle is it's so much harder to guarantee your 80 points now that I don't think that it's something you want to aim for. Because it's so much hard to guarantee. Like, you can't be like, all right, it's turn one, let me look at my opponent's primary, their secondaries. They're probably going to get 75. If I get 80 points, I think I've got this in the bag. Because there's so many opportunities now to lose those points. Primaries are harder to score than before. People are less likely to stay in their backfield. That means that they're coming into the middle. And if they're coming into the middle, that's where your primary points are. That's where your units are. The game's going to be bloodier just by the dint of that's how you have to play it to score secondaries. And that also means it's going to affect primaries. And it's going to be a lot more of a scrappy, fest in the middle. At this point, everyone's just raving. Everyone's getting in the middle. Everyone's turning on the neon lights, and there's a bunch of Repentia and Mega Knobs just going at it, and we're gonna find out who's left. So I don't. Solitaire is still a legitimate way to play the game, but I don't think that you want to try and be like, okay, 80 points is the number I need to get. Frankly, the number you need to get is more than your opponent. And with that in mind, I worry a lot more about. Honestly, I usually just camp my primary and just work on theirs. Like, I don't need 12s, I just need 8s, and you're getting 4s. And
I was just going to say,
yeah.
denying your opponent points is a big deal. You also, there's a big deal on this is that you have to do two things every single turn. You have to figure out what you're going to score, and you have to figure out your projected score, which tells you what you should be trying to do. Because it's going to be different. Like we just said, Sisters and Necrons can just churn out points. So when you're looking at what is my score this turn, and then you have to go, what is the projected score if nothing changes here? And if you're projected to lose, then you have to change how you go about the rest of the game. You have to be a little bit more aggressive. You have to look for more chances to refute points and take away points. So that's a big deal at that point in time. And it's so important to know what the game state is right now, because it determines how you do things. Figuring out on turn 5 that you need to go do things is too late, because now you can't take the points away. You're like, hey, I went second on turn 5 and I got a 12 and I did this, and you're like, yeah, and you still lost by 10. You're like, because you needed to push in a turn or two before that. So it's very important to just know what the gauge of the score is. That is more important than just saying I need to score X amount of points.
Okay. I'm with it, Brad. All right, you got me to agree this time. All right, here's this time. Don't let it go to your head. All right, now that the dust has settled and all of the changes are mostly in place, has your mind changed about the CP-apocalypse? CP-apocalypse, that's what we're going with. The command point absolute ruination and death and despair that happened, that we all panicked. I had several people on the internet tell me that the game was going back to how terrible 7th edition was. Just the game is over, Sky's falling.
The game's not over, but the game. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the CP changes.
Brad.
I'm sorry, I just do. I love the game, I just don't like the CP changes. I think it tries. I think it handcuffs me. I think you're gonna see a lot of exactly the same list come out because of the fact that we don't have enough CP to take the different warlord traits and relics and everything else, and I also don't have enough CP to use different stratagems. The same problem we had before, which we said was you use the same strats all the time. Now it's even going to be worse because you're never going to use an outlier strat because you don't have the CP for it.
Yeah.
It's what I said. That's why I call it the CP-apocalypse.
The CP-apocalypse.
It is.
It rolls off the tongue a lot better. All right, so with the CP-apocalypse, I'm a little more optimistic than Brad, but I think that GW pulled this one off in the most classic GW fashion, which is that they had a good idea that could have been better, and the answer was right there in front of them, and they tampered a little bit too much. I mean, come on, it's tale as old as time, right? GW has the solution right in front of them and decides to remove it. Literally all they had to do, in my mind, is keep the free warlord trait and relic in.
Yeah, I mean, we lost 8 CP. It's just...
Yeah.
I just can't tell.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. We lost 8 CP, we gained 5. I think if we lose 6, gain 5, and they look at changing the pace of the game to slow it down a little bit more, I think that is a wonderful change. Honest to goodness, I would have been happy with that. But lose 8, gain 5 just eliminates so much of the pre-game creativity that you can put in a list. Also, I know there's not as many of them now, but think of units that have like a spend command point, upgrade a unit pre-game. Those are literally dead.
Gone. Yeah, let me tell you how many Relic Contemptor Dreadnoughts I'm going to be taking.
Yeah, 0. Wow, I literally...
Let me tell you how many Eternal Penitents I'm putting on my tanks and Custodes right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All of those pregame stratagems are gone. Honestly, I can barely even justify the Iron Hand character Dreadnought because he's like 4 CP by himself.
It just... Again, we just need to change how strategies get played. That would change a lot of this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It would, but in the context of what we have right now, I think that
I'm just saying that has to be changed. Maybe it'll be changed in 10th. I'm just saying that, I don't think this is the answer. Making all of these armies feel it's painful to make an army right now.
Mhm.
I love constructing armies. I
Yep.
do not like constructing armies with handcuffs on. It's it just doesn't feel it.
Yeah.
I really really I don't. I want to have more fun. I'm playing with goddamn toy soldiers. Stop it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I want to
Let me
be
have my toys.
right. I want to be creative. I want to make new stuff up. You know what I mean? I can't make new things if you just don't let me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, or grobble, rabble, rabble.
Oh, grognard all day, buddy. All right. Here's another one for you. This is one I've actually harped about, but I want to bring it into focus a little bit more. A question from Karn in our Discord. And by the way, if you're wondering where we get these questions from, one, super chats do work. We are extremely bribable. Two, all of our questions are pulled from the Discord in the War Room. So if you're not a member of the War Room, don't worry. Obviously, you can still watch this video. Hopefully, you figured that out by now since you're hearing this. But all of the questions we pull are from that War Room Discord. So head over to our website or join on our YouTube channel, and that's where we pull the questions from. We let our War Room members pick the questions that we answer during this time. But here's a question from Karn in the Discord. With Stranglehold Until the Last Gone, do you think that a strategy based around the middle is more risky now, as more players are going to try to all in the middle without having to take those units? 100% yes. 100% yes.
Yeah.
It's more risky, but you're going to, hopefully you are also gearing more up for the middle as well. That means you need to have the ability to determine if you're winning or losing the middle before you pick your secondaries.
Also, I don't like to pick secondaries based on the middle on that because of that. All objectives are equal. All
Yeah.
objectives matter.
Like, I'm willing to take middle objectives against Eldar still, no problem. But there's a lot of armies that are just going to bowling ball towards the middle, and I need to not be picking those.
Yeah, if you have to start identifying your army concepts, the compositions that you're looking at, and say, what is this army trying to do? And if they're trying to bully the middle, then you have to bully the other objectives.
Yep.
And get them to go off. There's a lot of armies that are just not that fast too, that are just going to try to bully the middle.
Yeah.
So you can hit the outskirts.
Mm-hmm. A good benefit of this, by the way, and just something to think about, is that yes, Warp Ritual is really hard to do if your opponent just completely tanks the middle. But if they tank the middle, they're probably sending at least one character up, at which point Psychic Interrogation probably just as good. Or close to. Because, like, yeah, you know, I'm always worried about, I take Warp Ritual, my Death Guard opponent goes first and sprints 20 power armored idiots towards the middle of the board. I get one Warp Ritual, 3 points. Then the 20 Blightlord Terminators continue to move towards the middle of the board, and I no longer get Psychic Secondaries.
And or if you choose your Marines and you just decided that I'm automatically choosing Oath, and then you don't even sniff the middle for the rest of the game.
Oh, don't worry, Brad. I'm going to be so far away that I'm not falling back from any combats. 5 points. Heck yeah. All right. So, yeah, I think we're actually in agreement on that one. Man, that's kind of disappointing. All right, here we go. How susceptible are certain armies to nerfs? Are there some armies that are more vulnerable to nerfs than others? And, you know, for example, like Custodes. And this is kind of a question of internal balance. And I have an answer for this one immediately, just for Brad. Yes, some armies are susceptible to nerfs. It actually is based on the keywords they have, honest to God. The keywords that a unit have, like, really change how susceptible to nerfs they are. For example, if it has the Asuryani or the Eldari keyword, it's immune to nerfs. Just doesn't get them.
You are such an elf hater. I don't even like you. They literally took away the 2 strats I use every single turn and put points up. Screw you.
I mean, one of them arguably got better.
What arguably got better?
Well, you couldn't afford to use all your strats anyway, so this is just helping you out.
Oh, screw off.
Don't need stratagems if you don't have command points, Brad.
We're going to Jonas. Would you ever play the have to hold objective to get command point mission competitively?
I was saving this one for the
Warlord
end.
Needs to live for CP mission. Yeah. I mean, it's
going to be part of the pack.
There's a couple that are just awkward, man. They just are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it depends. It's weird because certain armies just don't care about that one, and the other ones are. Mm-hmm. You don't, because the fact that you don't have 4 deploying stuff, you can have a terrible first turn on the hold the objective to get a command point. It's actually fairly brutal. So it's important to have that. But you're an army that doesn't have that, you're just sad
Yep.
because I might, same thing that John was saying earlier. I might actually, if you're in that situation, I might just push onto your objectives and create a little bit of scrum that I'm going to lose just to make sure you don't have any CP and you don't have any options.
Yeah, because if I can get a scrum going on your side of the board, I'm probably going to hold at least one of the two objectives on my side of the board every turn. And if I'm racking up command points while just constantly pushing you off, you may not have enough. And some armies that doesn't matter. Like custodians are like, command points? We don't have any stratagems left. Go. But everyone else is like, oh wow, I really miss having command points right about now.
Ooh, back to back.
Woo, thank you so much for all the support, by the way, everyone. Appreciate you, Jonas, Trey, and Lyle. Brad, hit me.
Trey, what do you think about the strength of the Alpha Legion secondary? Also, is destroying objectives a mechanic that's good for the game?
Yes.
I love and hate it at the same time. It is so deadly, but it also means that you have to start scrumming over objectives and thinking about what's happening.
That's so
I
cool.
kind of like
what
that.
are you talking about?
Oh, I love the fact that the old second book we had, no one knew exactly what the raise was except for the fact that the mechanic let you blow stuff up. That was it.
Yeah.
You never took the secondary, but you did the action.
Every time you got to sneak in there and just do it, it was awesome. Like every time you got to go in there, blow up an objective on a raised ground, everyone forgot it because you never took the secondary or you never like used the points.
I didn't forget to be able to burn stuff down. That made me happy. However, I never took the secondary because it was awful. So the Alpha Legion secondary, I don't have my internet up, so I can't look at it at the top of my head. So I don't want to quote it wrong.
Chaos Space Marine Codex is very far away from you right now. It's like 3 rooms away. Hold on, let me.
I'll let John do that. I'm going to sneak Lyle's. I'm going to sneak Lyle in here while we look that one up.
Okay.
Lyle, bribing to ask a question. Love that. It's the best way to get the question. With the game changing to force units to do stuff, do you think indirect is more or less important to remove those chaff units earlier in the game? If you have effective indirect, it depends on the army you're playing against. All the T3 armies do not want to see your indirect. It is actually super important against them. And one of the biggest things in your armies right now, guys and gals, is to identify what your opponent's trash units are, the things that they want to screen out, the things that they want to take objectives with early. If you can kill your opponent's trash right away, it actually makes the game very difficult for them. Yes. So I'd say the answer is it's more important than it used to be because the game is going to be forced to be more indirect. So people can't kind of drip feed out their trash. They're going to have to actually do things with their trash.
Yeah, more people have to actually commit. Fully agreed on that.
So, Matto, thank you, sir. Ignore if I missed this earlier, but what do you guys think about Craft World Eldar versus Sisters now? Was by far worst matchup pre-nerf and undeserved buffs. Yeah, Craft World Eldar used to be I felt like an auto win against Sisters. Now it is a crazy. I actually think it's probably Sister favored because of the fact that Craft World Eldar used to be able to sit back and do nothing, and they would take the angles and have slightly more range because Sisters basically wheelhouse is inside 24 inches.
Yep.
And Eldar can stay outside of that. But with the Fire and Fade being once a game, Battle Focus Automatic 6 going away, to the last Stranglehold both going away, it means that the Eldar actually have to do something, which means that the Sisters are really good at doing something.
Music to my ears, Brad. Eldar players have to play the game now, and they're mad about it.
Hell yeah, we are. You can see some of my units. This is bullshit. I like that I'm just waving a pen in front of my camera.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this.
Solid.
My hands hurt all the time, so I have to have something in them. Arthritis. It's a real thing when you get old, people. Don't do heavy lifting in martial arts your whole life and then figure out when you were supposed to be a tiny chess player. K4 lips?
K for lips.
Okay. K for lips. I love my Tyranids, but after a few Nephilim games, it's a pain to score anything besides psychic interrogation. Are we done? We might have disagreed on this, but I don't think we do. I don't think the Tyranids are done at all. Tyranids are different. Tyranids have to take literally a weird lateral step to be able to play because your secondaries are hot trash.
Yeah. Oh my god, the faction. So one of the faction secondaries for Tyranids got a buff that I missed in the first pass. Unfortunately, it is still trash.
Spores actually are takeable, but
Not what spores is the worst one. How am I getting my troops over there?
I just wanted to say that
Get
so I
out of here,
could make
Brad.
your mind.
God.
I wanted to make your mind hurt. I love it. I couldn't stay straight faced for long enough on it. Your book secondaries are trash. So Tyranid secondaries are bad. However, the big thing is that your army is still, there's a reason that Tyranids were number one. The army got some point nerfs and they got a few mechanical nerfs, but the biggest deal is that your army can still beat the crap out of people. So you can take secondaries that go into that gameplay. You're going to push up on your opponent. You're not going to sit back. You're going to go kill the crap out of them. You can take a psychic secondary on 3d6, so you almost want to take it. Mm-hmm. So there's things that you can do, and they're still just really, really good. So, but you're going to have to build your army around being aggressive and denying your opponent points. And the biggest thing is with the Tyranids right now, you have good options for stealing opponents. You can refute points all day long. Yeah. It's very important that you're taking those away, giving your opponent those 4s, hopefully maybe those 0s, and that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Oh, all right. Another super chat coming in. Thank you so much to 3 Amigos Studios. This one's with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Howdy, guys. How do you build a Wraith host list? Brad, sell me on the Wraith host.
I love Wraith host. I don't think it's the most competitive army, but I'm going to make it. I played Wraith host, hold on, for the entirety of the 2002 GT season. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important if you're looking at Wraith host that you've got your Spirit Seer in there. I would probably still play him as Uthway, because I think that the 6-up invuln and the 5-up Feeling Pain Against Mortals is a big deal on that. I'm going to, of course, put in my defensive psychics. Fortune, Protect are definitely going in there. I'm putting in some Wraith Lords. I'm going to put in a Wraith Seer. And then I'm going to put in some Wraith Blades. Mm-hmm. And I might deep strike a unit of Wraith Guard. I still think the Wraith Knight is probably not good enough to bring in my army. If you have one that's amazingly painted, put him on the board. But I'm going to take a battalion and I'm going to put all that stuff in there. And then I'm going to try to push the board. And I'm going to try to hold mid-board fairly strongly on that. You don't have the speed with the Wraith constructs as well. I'm definitely going to bring a Webway Gate. You need the Webway Gate in a Wraith construct army.
Fully agreed. I think the Webway Gate is just still really good in general.
Yeah.
I realized that I didn't actually finish answering the Tyranid question because I got distracted by a shiny new super chat. This is what happens to my brain, people. But I am with Brad, by the way. I think that Tyranids are 100% still viable. You have to change the way you're playing them. Some armies were already going max aggression. That's fine. You probably are going to be headed more in that direction than you were before. But I think you can build like secondaries that line up with going aggro. If you looked at the way that Goth Orcs used to pick their secondaries, they were like, I'm going to get tabled on about turn 3 or 4 if I haven't tabled them. So how am I maximizing my points in that time? So I'm not even kidding you. Mark would on turn 3, his turn 3, he would have like 3 models left, and one of them would be a weird boy completing the 3rd psychic ritual to get a 12 on it. And then there were 3 banners up, and he had gotten like 2 12s on primary before I just rained death upon his army. And I had 2 0s, and like, mathematically I cannot catch you even though I have 2 full turns without you having models left. You can do that. Tyranids can absolutely pull it off. Banners, grind, or no prisoners ideally. And then Psychic Ritual is the best way to cram points in as fast as possible, because it is super hard to deny Tyranids their points. I don't mind Psychic Interrogation in general if you think you're going up against an army that's not going to be able to punch you out. But if someone is either able to A, hide characters from you, B, deal a lot of damage to you at once, then I actually prefer Warp Ritual to Psychic Interrogation, because you're going to be the one rushing the middle. They're going to be the ones getting out of their way, trying to buy themselves time. You need to maximize your points during that time.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I think that Tyranids can do this, and they can do this just as well as the Orcs can do this. You literally have to, you have more durability than the Orcs, I do also, by the way. Mm-hmm. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Can Eldar play something similar to that? Eldar are going to play way different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that has to be pretty different.
If you jam Eldar down somebody's face, you're going to be sad. So no,
All right, Brad. I've got
hit me.
two questions for you. One of them is mine, and then we've got a grand finale. This one is mine. Is Armor of Contempt good for the game? Like, how should we change it? Because I have an answer to this, and I think it should be changed. But I want to hear your thoughts first.
Is Armor of Contempt good for the game? No,
All
I
right.
think that you should, and I think it's the lazy way out
Mm-hmm.
because I think that you should look at factions and raise them specifically on their mechanics and points, and not just put some overriding rule on top of everyone to
Mm-hmm.
try to basically raise them up because you're not looking at what the core problems are of those factions. I think that this is it's fine, but it feels like the lazy man solution to this,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to looking at what are the problems with White Scars, what are the problems with this other Imperial list. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just slap fucking flex tape on it and go, oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Let's rock this out, baby.
I agree. It was just slapped on a little too haphazardly. I imagine that this is a testing thing, same as everything else they do. My take on it is that Armor of Contempt was good because Marines needed a little bit of a durability increase, and all power armor did. All power armor was dying too easily. What I actually think needed to happen is that all Armor of Contempt needed to become like the old Valorous Heart. You treat AP 1 and 2 as one less. Not AP3, not AP4. There is nothing more annoying than like you fire a multi-melt at a tactical marine. He's like, I mean, there's a rock right there, so I got a 5 up. Like no. AP4 ignores your armor save. And they're like, it's a 5 up, do the math. And then there's like, oh, well, I just made the save. Or like las cannons, and you're like, I don't know. I got a 4 up armor save right now. Like what's the worst that could happen? And when Marines start tanking, just tactical Marines start tanking las cannons on a 4+, I'm just like, what is going on here? I think it should be that dedicated anti-tank weapons, AP3+, can still put a hurt on Marines. Like, that makes sense. Plasma guns are pretty much designed to kill Marines. They should. But power armor being really resilient to small arms, that feels fine.
I like that. You know what I mean? I prefer that. It's just, like I said, I would like to see more personal views on different chapters and the factions themselves. I think that would be better.
When the Marine Codex comes out, whenever it is, there's always a Marine Codex around the corner. It's GW. When it comes out, I honestly hope Armor of Contempt is gone and they have done something else to address it. But current situation, Armor of Contempt needs to stay. I just wish that they would tone down how high up it works. I really think it should only work on AP 1 and 2.
Agreed. I mean, I like that. So
yeah.
Seems legit on that.
Seems legit. All right. One last question to wrap this one up then, Brad. Here we go. Bradley.
Hit me.
What missions should we not play in a 6-round tournament? There's 9 missions. 3 of them are not getting played in a 6-round tournament.
Dawn of War.
All right. Brad, I am completely against you.
Hey, well,
you should have a Dawn of War mission in every tournament.
You can be against me, but you'd be wrong.
Nah, Brad.
Dawn of War.
I speak divine wisdom to you this day.
Dawn of War is a bad deployment. It occasionally makes things like Alpha Strikes available. You don't have enough. I can't use my generalmanship to stop you from getting close to me because I only have a 10-inch zone. I can't
Brad,
buffer it out.
You can use your generalship to design a list that doesn't mind interacting with the opponent.
I will interact with the opponent. I don't like being punched in the face and not being able to do anything about it.
All right, so
I'm jumping into your fist to make sure that you didn't miss any. Like you almost missed me once there.
Okay, what Brad just said is I don't mind interacting with my opponent. I just don't want to let them interact with me. That's what I just heard. Anyone else in the chat hear that? That's what Brad said, right? All right, good. No, I think that Abandoned Sanctuaries is bad, but I think Tide of Conviction is actually one of my favorite missions of the new set.
I love the mechanic of it. I don't like Dawn of War deployment.
I get it. It's not ideal. I think Tide of Conviction should be in every tournament pack. Honestly, I think it should be the top tables that I get to play Brad on it every weekend. I'm just
and just take angles from me.
Absolutely.
He's going to Alpha Strike me every single game.
Oh, Bradley. I never go first, but against you, I will. All No, Abandoned Sanctuary's dumpster fire. Second worst mission in the game. The absolute worst mission in the game, 100% is Recover the Relics. The worst. It's the
11?
fact. Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
That is the worst mission in the game.
It sucks because of the fact that it you can't even take away. It's annoying because you go across the table, you take away an objective, and you're like, "Hey, this had absolutely no impact on the score whatsoever because the person still gets an 8." So yes, the mechanics of the mission are kind of
yeah.
meh.
The mechanics of the primary suck on that because it's so easy for them to hold 3 objectives at the end of their turn. All 3 objectives are far away from you. They're just going to get an 8, and like you have to go dislodge them off 2 objectives to stop them from getting an 8, or you get to sit on your side of the board and keep them to an 8. It's like, oh, what's the difference here?
Let's rock these super chats, brother.
Oh my god, the super chats are getting me. All right, Averick Lynn with the $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you so much, Brad. Have you decided which craft world that you are playing? Are battalions worth?
Nope.
Okay. Well, give me some ideas.
I'm gonna play Bhutan or I'm gonna play Hale probably. I might go back to Uthway. I mean, I have 3 that are up in the mix. So it's got to be more play testing on this. I don't think the list changes that much, but the craft world will change the buffs. Battalions are worth it. I've been running double detachment still because there's not enough slots, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's tough to run down to that. Baharov's still totally worth it because he can steal stuff.
Screw Baharov. Look, a lot of other players are like, oh, Baharov just doesn't do enough anymore, and like I'm like, yeah, I get it. I mean, he's 160 points. Maybe you shouldn't have it. And inside of me, the 6-year-old, is just jumping up and down, screaming with joy that I don't have to play against Baharov.
Yeah, I mean,
like, every opponent of Eldar thinks that he's the worst thing in the game, and every other player's like, I just don't know if he's broken enough anymore. Maybe I should cut him. And we're all like, yeah, no, I get it. He's just not good anymore. You should cut him, Brad. You just don't need Baharov anymore. Please, thank you.
He literally does work in 2 phases every single turn for 5 turns.
He only does 10 phases of damage without taking a wound back. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he seems okay.
He seems alright.
It makes me actually yes, because after WTC, I think I'm going to be playing Chaos. So, yeah,
oh my god! All right, thank you so much. $5 super chat from Christos. All right, what do we think of Chaos Space Marine from a durability point of view? With Armor of Contempt, it's okay, but if it goes away, a lot of units would easily die, like Chosen and Legionnaires. I actually think Chaos Space Marines keeping Armor of Contempt is 100% fine because Armor of Contempt is a durability buff across the board. And Chaos Space Marines across the army needed that. However, Chaos Space Marines have a crap ton of... Oh my god. Thank you, Ethan. Alright, Chaos Space Marines have a crap ton of buffs that they can layer onto one unit to make it way too tough. Armor of Contempt does not matter on a Terminator unit because you hit it on 4s, it's toughness 5, it's -1 to wound, it's -1 damage, it has a 5 feel no pain, you can't reroll your hits, you can't reroll your wounds, and it's OBSEC and gonna auto-pass morale checks. What? Yeah, I didn't need to mention the Armor of Contempt part of that, because don't even worry, they're not taking saves. Like, who cares what Armor of Contempt they have? The only thing I can point at that is multi-meltas and then roll 4s.
Or a knight just says, screw it, take 30 morals.
Brad, I'm sold on that plan, I really am. You know I like shooting mortals at people.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I think that, and there's a question right below on the same vein. I do genuinely think that Chaos Space Marine durability across the army is fine. I think that Chaos Space Marines are going to provide a stacking buff problem for the game, where you can take a Chaos Space Marine unit of 10 Terminators or Possessed, or honestly, because Terminators are best.
GW is bad. It needs people that know math. The problem is the multiplicity of it, the multipliers. They don't add, it's multiply. It's, you know what I mean? So... I feel like they look at stacking buffs and think that they add. They don't. They multiply. It's a big deal on that. Yeah, I won't get into that.
Yeah.
Adam and I will talk about that in the Math Hammer when I lose my mind about the fact that they don't realize that it's not
just
adding,
how
it's
much. Yeah.
Also, Ethan, hurtful talk. No one cares about Eldar and John Talk sisters. I love sisters though. I literally play sisters.
Thank you so much for your support, Ethan. Always good having the chat. Look, you know what I'm here for, Brad. Sisters talk.
That's true.
It's all I'm all about.
I will go back to sisters in a moment. Let's get these other super chats real quick. Lyle, yes. I want to switch to Farside Enclaves for the Warlord trait that lets me put Baharov in the dirt. The only reason I want to switch is nothing else.
Lyle's right. You should switch to Farside Enclaves, and only for that reason.
I'm not gonna lie. When I put Baroth on the table, Baroth is very terrified of that man because he will shoot him in an alley. Three Amigos Studios. How do bomb squigs work? The characters embarked. You can't hit things that are embarked with your bomb squig. You can hit the vehicle itself.
I don't know if that's the question. So bomb squigs can hit characters, right?
Now, he's talking about being embarked.
Yeah.
I'm just screwing around with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making bad jokes. I'm making dad jokes.
Bad dad jokes. There you go.
Bad dad jokes, even. How do bomb squigs work with characters when they're barked? When you're barked, you're not considered on the board. So I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive, actually, you can't use your bomb squig until you're back on the table.
Yeah, I believe that's correct because it's not actually a shooting attack.
Correct.
Yeah. Trey Dudley, I did in fact look up that Alpha Legion secondary. I have it saved and up here so that I can sneak it into the end. But I believe bomb squigs can target characters, right?
Bomb squigs just target whatever's the closest. They shoot the closest.
They hit the closest?
Like, you can just ignore stuff. Yeah. Like, so your character's face, if you can draw a line and make it the closest, it will just hit. They can. I'm sorry, not the closest. It's not the closest. I apologize. It's just in their range, they can target whatever the hell they want. That's within the range. So
I was about to say, like, every single orc player has played that wrong against me, but that sounds right.
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was about to go attack Mark, and you were going to pay for my hospital bills, Brad.
If you're close enough, you can target whatever the hell you want.
Okay, cool.
In their range. So you can't protect characters from Lookout Sir or anything like that. They just smoke it, whatever it is.
Got it. Okay, and then another FAQ, or another super chat from Ethan. Thank you so much. How impactful was the Knights FAQ? No, I'm saying Alpha Legion for last. They're sneaky. They're the Alpha and the Omega. Come on.
Alpha.
Yeah, thank you.
Might be loyalists.
Oh, how impactful was the Knights FAQ? It didn't impact anything as far as what we assumed would happen, but it is nice to see that Noble Competence actually can be played at a tournament now. Noble Competence was the competitive edge on none of the weapons that you're equipped with, which was like, cool, thanks. Only my feet, huh? Great. Would I rather make 4 attacks with my feet that could become 8 because they don't do anything? Would I rather make 12 attacks with my giant chainsword? Who could say? But no, it is nice to see that their competitive edge modifier actually did work out. All right. Alpha Legion question? Alpha Legion?
Read the secondary.
All right. Infiltrate and subvert. This one's for you, Brad. If you select this objective, Alpha Legion infantry can attempt the following actions. 1 unit that's not a character and is infantry from your army can perform the action at the end of your movement phase. If it's wholly within 6 inches of your opponent's deployment zone, that action is completed at the end of your next command phase, provided the unit performing it is still wholly within 6 inches of your opponent's deployment zone. If completed, if the unit that performed the action is within range of an objective marker, roll 1d6 to see if that objective marker has been subverted. If it was a cultist unit, on a 5+, it works. If it's a non-cultist unit, on a 3+, it is subverted. And enemy units can never control objective markers that have been subverted by your army and can never perform actions while they're within range of any objective markers that have been subverted by your army. So each time you complete the action, you get 3 points. Or if you get 4 points if you're wholly in your opponent's deployment zone. So there's, as there should be, there are 3 heads to this secondary. So first up, the 5+, 3+ is not about whether or not you score the points. You complete the action,
whether you
score the
subvert
points.
the objective.
You subvert the objective. Provided the unit for me is still holding. Okay. I'm wondering, it does look possible. I'm imagining those sticky objective missions. Brad, honest to goodness, could you imagine if you managed to walk onto a sticky objective, subvert it, and then you just left?
Yeah, because they can never take it ever again. Yeah, and you always take it.
You raise a banner, you subvert it, and you're like, I don't know, man. I think I'm good here. I think we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I see no reason to stick around. It's hilarious. It's trolly. I think the secondary is fine. I don't really want to go get within 6 inches of my opponent's deployment zone multiple times and then not do anything. I think Chaos Space Marines have a 1 CP action and shoot, but they don't have an action in charge because as far as I'm aware, that doesn't exist in the game yet. And action in charge would be a lot better because I don't want to get my Chaos Space Marines within 6 inches of my opponent's deployment zone and then not charge them. But if you wanted to build a Alpha Legion army that was specifically built around the secondary, it is super cool. And also, if I was playing against my friends, I would take this every time so that I can
single time.
burn their objectives to the ground and laugh at them.
This is the ultimate. I'm playing for fun. This is happening every time.
Yeah, like this might actually be good. I'm not saying it's bad, but this is the most
No,
fun secondary that they've made. This is up there with cranial feasting for things I want to do to my opponent.
the fact that you can do this on a sticky objective, I would do this in a second on a sticky
Oh
objective.
my god, could you imagine? I
I
would
just
be
want a
so
judge to be called over and have to explain this, and then just go, "Yeah, man, that's this is how it works." So
yeah. I mean, Death and Zeal. I think you could forward deploy a because Alpha Legion they have a stratagem to forward deploy, right?
yeah,
Okay, if you forward deploy a Legionnaire squad and you just deploy on the objective and you go first, you're like, guess who's sticky is for me? Walk up, do the action, you drop a hot and spicy 3+ on them, and you're like, boom, the objective right next to your deployment zone, the natural, the expansion objective that everyone always has. Not only can you never hold it, thank you for the 5 points a turn.
yeah.
And then you're just like, I'm out. Yeah.
You're like, it's got a banner and it can't be taken ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a banner, it's sticky. This is 5 points a turn. Get good. You just dip. It's like, oh my god, can you imagine?
Also, you can't R&D within range of it either, so you can't perform actions next to it.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, that is one of the funniest ones. Oh man.
Some of the stuff, my man.
Ooh. Oh, we got a good one. We got one last question in the chat. I wanted to go set up my game that I'm playing at 1 p.m. in the Worm, but one last question. Brad, did you watch the tier list from Tuesday?
I saw part of it. I could do a counter video to the tier list. How about that?
Well, I'm going to make you pick one. Samuel Martin asks, was there any tier list rankings made by Jack and Richard last Tuesday that you disagreed with?
Yeah, I can't remember. They put tier lists too well, I thought. Didn't they put them all like B tier or something? I thought.
No, they put him in the bottom half of A tier.
Okay, maybe they were.
All right. I have one that I disagree with, and I'll let you go first. I have one that I disagree with majorly, like disrespectfully disagree with. But I want to hear yours first. Are you're good? Tyranids was your choice?
I'm gonna go to Tyranids on that because
Okay.
I thought they put him in B. I think I can't remember now, but I remember like looking at all of them, and I thought a couple of them I could definitely go shot for shot and think that I would change some things. But
Yeah.
I thought they were arguing about it because I really thought that Tyranids were being placed in B.
Maybe. Well, you know what? Next tier list, we'll see if we can make it a Brad and John special. That will be chaotic and fun. Yeah, Brad's like, oh, that's what I want. All right, here we go. So the one that I disagreed with him the most strongly on was Chaos Knights. Jack just doesn't have a respectful bone in his body, as far as I'm concerned. He likes his Imperial Knights, and he's like, oh, Chaos Knights garbage, blah 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 blah. I'm kidding. He does respect them, but he put them in B tier. And as a matter of fact, I'm like, no, Chaos Knights, they are way better. I think Chaos Knights are better than Loyalist Knights. And so I'm actually on a mission to prove it. So we're actually playing a game later today in the War Room with Chaos Knights. I'm playing my Chaos Knights against Jack Sisters of Battle. I'm actually super excited for that one. I think it'll be a really good test. Sisters are obviously the top of the pile right now, so that's going to be an awesome test to get out there.
Is he gonna fail all of the leadership checks?
Oh,
Namnasa!
we're going to find out
Sweet.
together. Dun, dun, dun.
What would you suggest watching and or listening to learn how to play Imperial Guard? Keep up the fun shows.
Thank
The
you so much for that
basics
super
of
chat.
again, I like look at the basics videos because basics apply no matter what army you're playing with. I know that that's a very general thing on that, but I do 3 things every time I take a turn, which is try to move a unit to score points, move a unit to refute points, move a unit to set up for the next turn. And that applies for every single army, for instance. So I would definitely watch the basic videos first and then go into the how-tos after that. I'll do some Imperial Guard stuff if people want to see it.
You know what? I think we're gonna have to get a lot of Imperial Guard stuff in soon. I've been a disloyal servant of the Imperium. I have been waiting for the Codex. I've been like, this is fun, but like, you know what? I just keep getting touched in combat. So I can guarantee that when that Codex drops, there will be an absolute crap ton of Imperial Guard content coming up. But I can also tell you that I played 2 games with Imperial Guard at Charity Hammer this last weekend. So you can actually find that it was restreamed on our channel, but you can also find it on the Best in Tabletop network. I played 2 games with Astra Militarum. And you know what? If people are hankering for some guard love before that book comes out, we can see if we can get some more guard clinics on the schedule. See if we can get a little bit more Imperial Guard love going. All right.
All the things, some of the stuff.
All the things, some of the stuff. All right, Brad, as always, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on. I think we're good here. I'm going to send everyone off with a commercial for the Art of War Room. If you're just watching this on YouTube, you want to know a little bit more about the War Room, send you off with the commercial. You can find it right here on our channel or on our website, theartofwar40k.com. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
There's so many rules in 40k, hundreds of events, and constant updates. Skip the learning curve of Warhammer and join the pros. Art of War is led by multiple world champions with decades of success. We teach clinics, stream games, and inspire you to succeed at your favorite hobby. Join our global community of gamers just like you.